great victories. It should also be added that the speech called for workers in South Korea to organize strikes and riots against the decaying Songun regime. The KPA, under the command of Marshal Kim Il-sung, liberated Seoul on the 28th of June, the third day of the war, and just 2 days after his historic speech, go out for all out for victory in the war, rather than as the South Koreans had claimed, that they would take breakfast in Haju, lunch in Pyongyang, and dinner in Sinaju. I'll just explain. Haju is a town near to the 38th parallel, because Sinaju is near to the Chinese border. As they arrived, the South Korean puppets found themselves overwhelmed by the strong and decisive counteroffensive of the KPA. The KPA smashed General Smith's US infantry unit on the 7th of July. This was the first decisive battle between the KPA and US Army. The KPA went on to carry out a successful encircling operation against the so-called Invincible 24th US Infantry Division, commanded by General Dean. This took place at Daejeon. It was an example of the true military strategic genius of the great leader, Comrade Kim Il-sung. Dean was captured trying to run away by a 16-year-old KPA soldier. I believe this was the first time a US general was captured by the opposing side. Original Juche-orientated tactics were applied at different stages of the war. One such tactic was the idea of forming a second front. Of course, some will say, what about the Second World War? However, there's a crucial difference here. In the Second World War, the second front was meant to be formed in several countries. However, in Korea, you had a second front formed within one country. Some retreating units formed combined units with KPA units that penetrated the enemy's rear and attacked the US forces from behind their own lines. US General Walker of the US 8th Army was killed by one such unit. Self-reliance was applied. The KPA fighters created their own anti-aircraft guns by mounting machine guns and cartwheels. DPRK had established its own self-reliance munitions industry in the 1940s, which could produce rifles, submachine guns, or Tommy guns, if you like, and mortars. During the Fatherland Liberation War, the factory was moved out of Pyongyang and to an underground base at Kunju-rai. The KPA used tunnel warfare. Korea was indeed, as some said, the war before Vietnam. And later, the Vietnamese Liberation Forces employed tunnel warfare against the US in their Liberation War. And in fact, the DPRK had dispatched its best tunneling engineers to Vietnam to help the Vietnamese people. The KPA, which was the successor of the Korean People's Revolutionary Army, had accumulated guerrilla warfare tactics and turned them to good account against the US. The fighters of the KPA were encouraged to perform heroic feats. Numerous heroes were produced during the war. For example, a 19-year-old squad leader of the KPA, Ri Su-byok, blocked an enemy pillbox, sacrificing his life, and afterwards they found his notebook where he'd written that although his life was important, the fatherland was far more important. During the Fatherland Liberation War, the concept of Army-People Unity, which is one of the main pillars of the Songun, or Army First idea, came into full force. People supported the KPA in a number of ways, by increasing industrial and agricultural production,